We're going to be breaking down a case study today, right? And before I get into the case study, it's always important. Those of you that have never been on a training with me, I always got to make sure that we're grounded in this because we're going to be going through some numbers, right? And whenever we go through numbers, it's important that you guys all understand that today this is for educational purposes only. Because I am showing you some of the things that I have done in my business does not mean that is going to be the absolute same for you guys in your business, right? So here is what I'll tell you guys. I'm going to give you guys little nuggets as we go through this, okay? And with PPL, to me, it is a speed of execution game. What I personally did was I went on a test trial with Leadzolo, and I have had incredibly good results. Actually, I have a massive update even since May 7th, because we're now at past that. We're 30 days past that. Some of the results of what I got, right? So I want to give you guys once again, ground you guys on exactly what this was. But we did a trial window with $10,000 of ad spend from March 7th to May 7th, right? So if you guys break that down, that's in all reality, we got 50 leads from that on average cost per lead, about $200, okay? The goal and what we were trying to understand in this is with $10,000, what could we expect as a return, right? So I worked with the Leadzolo guys, and we were able to run this trial and this test with them. Now I'm using all of the processes that I personally use in my business, meaning I'm using the results-driven sales process. I'll give you guys kind of like the sneak peek of the results. Was we got 50 leads. At the time of whenever I gave these results, we had 4 contracts that were locked up from the 50 leads, right? In that duration of time, we had one very quick deal that was closed, one was pending close, and then one that was recently locked up, right? So we had 3 pending contracts, and then we had 1 cancellation. So I want to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, but I want to show you the true stats in this, right? So what that means is that our lead to contract ratio is 8%, cost per contract at $2,500, and this is the best part, is through the process of execution in this, it got me to a 1 of 12 and a half leads per contract in total, right? So we're going to talk through some like industry statistics for all of these things, right? We're going to talk through industry statistics on exactly what you should anticipate for, and I'm also going to talk to you guys about like what leads I chose to purchase, right? And then how much I made, I'll get to all that at literally the end because I'll literally show you guys in my system live on the updates of what I have, right? So originally I had the one deal that's closed, the other one has closed since then, another one is set to close for tomorrow, so I'll have 3 closed deals. So we do have clear to close on the third one, and then we've locked up in 2 additional ones. So we're actually at 6 contracts now from all of those 50 leads, right? I went through and I did Leadzolo's enriched lead forms. Enriched web lead forms is what they're named inside the system. In that, right? Like I was getting exclusive leads, meaning that nobody else was getting these. It was just exclusive to me. I had it. It was mine, right? So there was no massive crazy bidding system. I put in the bid of what I wanted and the leads started to flow in at different increments of everything, right? The reason I say that this is strong, right? If you guys look at the benchmarks of performance on PPL alone, you have to assume that you are going to land 1 contract every 20 to 25 leads. So if we assume in this example, right, that my $10,000 spend is going to get me X amount of leads for $200 per lead, which gets me to 50, right? I should have assumed how many contracts, right? How many contracts did I assumed in that math? The easy math is it's 2, right? And the power of what I want to show you guys today, the goal of what I show you guys today is not get on here and be like, look at me, I'm awesome. Like, no, there's nothing special about what I did. It's about execution in these processes. It's about understanding exactly what to do in your CRM, understanding what speed to lead does, understanding having a great sales process and a great disposition and underwriting process is so critical in this, right? So you get away from the people that are always saying, it's the leads, it's the provider, it's this, it's not that. Right? It has everything to do with your ability to monetize opportunity throughout this process, right? It's about doing more with what you already have. And where this came into an ROI summary is on a conservative standpoint. This is whenever we first did this, it was going to be at a 2.5x ROI with the 2 deals of what I had pending. With the third one of what I have pending now, I'm now at a 4x ROI. And now literally my upside scenario, which is crazy because that's exactly where I'm at. I'm at 6 contracts as of right now with over $60,000 in projected profit on the spend, right? So I'm at a 6x projections just based off of the additional deals of what I've added into the queue at this point, right? So based off the $10,000 in spend, I am now going to have $60,000 in the bank just from what we did with these lead channels, right? So it's not just about when the leads came in, it was about the rigorous follow-up. It was about maintaining it. It was about uniquely outreaching these people, finding ways to monetize more opportunity at the end of it all, right? So it accelerated my cash conversion cycle very fast by having a channel in my tool belt exactly like this. And the reality, the simple takeaway here is that the PPO worked because the leads were good enough. The leads are always fine, right? I think it's easy for all of us as business owners because we wear every hat, right? Is that we're like, oh, the leads suck. It's not a conversion problem because the conversion problem is the hardest thing to fix, right? It requires the most energy. It requires the most consumption of our time. It requires the most skill. It requires the most training. It requires all of these things. So it's easy to blame the leads. And the reality is never the leads, right? It's always about how you monetize the opportunities and what you can do with those, right? If you guys look at this, this is just a beautiful funnel graph of exactly what it looks like inside there. So in this, I still have 32 of these leads that we are actively working. Like we're not giving up on them. Like we are still actively working them to this day. We're finding new and unique ways to even outreach these people. We're sending them direct mail whenever they're high intent leads, meaning that if it's a PPL lead, it's high intent. So we're now sending them mail. So we're doing a lot of things to just try to re-engage and retouch these individuals that are still active within our pipeline. My goal is to not just like lose them in the system. It's about how you follow up with them, what the conversation was, and exactly what you need to do next, right? And if you look at everything from really the warm leads and up, that is where like the extreme high intent is for us. Meaning that if you look at how many interested out of follow-ups are, that means that these people are interested in selling their property, meaning that there's just like a prohibiting factor that is just not allowing us to get to the end game yet, which is okay because like a real estate deal is a big deal for a lot of people, meaning we might just need to let life run its course for a little bit before we get there, right? So just to give you guys a real breakdown of exactly what we see and where I'm still actively working some of these opportunities. Sometimes if we can't monetize it, if the house maybe is a little dilapidated, it's dated, there's something that we can find in the sales process to extract it, right? Like I ideally want them to be our ICP. But if the house is in pristine condition, there's really not distress. It's like not like it's more going towards pleasure, right? The example of what I give is in a sales process, there's two outcomes of what we're always going towards, right? It's either we're going away from pain or we're going towards pleasure. So if you have an extreme pleasure seller, where meaning that their house is in great condition and maybe they want to downsize because they just retired from their awesome job, have a great retirement, but they just want to sell this house for not having to do possible showings, right? And that not doing the showings is really not that big of a deal. Maybe just because they have an annoying neighbor that doesn't want to see something, right? I've actually converted a lead into an off-market cash deal by doing that. But that exact example is a great one that I think some of us have all came by. Maybe they just want to retire and move to Florida. So there's not necessarily pain. There's a situation, but it's more going towards pleasure. We want to find the people that are going away from pain, right? Meaning that there's a big life event that we can actually add value outside of price with. So that's how like we're really going through and defining those key things. Yeah, Amanda says Florida is where it's at, right? All right, so guys, so the reality in this is what most people would miss in this is a lot of people would look at these 50 leads and only ask how many close, but whenever you think away from being really like the technician and you think about being the entrepreneur, right? We ask better questions. We think about how many got turned into conversations, meaning how many are quality convos. How many did we get offers on? How many went under contract? How many are we still working? What's actually dead? What does dead mean? So like I audit these leads every single freaking day. So part of what I'm looking at is I am like a ninja in my CRM, always looking at all of these key things of where did it go? Where is it at? How many leads do I have? How am I looking at this? How many were generated this week? Where are they at in the stage? So I'm always visually seeing what all this is. But once again, that is my system and my process for high level execution in these types of things, right? So like that is what contributed to a lot of success in this plan, right? And guys, these are some numbers of what you guys need to be actively tracking, right? Your guys' cost per lead, cost per contract, lead per contract, right? I'm not going to go through all of these, but if you're not tracking your data, right, your system of auditing can't be proficient, right? We often talk about a framework of what we coach a lot on, which is called the TIF framework, right? It's track, identify, and fix, right? Everybody wants to fix their problems in their business, but the two things that people don't really understand or don't do is they don't track the right metrics. And some people track everything and all things, but then they don't know how to identify and fix the problem, right? So the reality here is that you have to have a good system of auditing and a system of going through these things in order to be able to fix these things in your business to become extremely proficient in PPL, magnifying your results really with these types of channels, okay? I teach this so aggressively at our 2-day workshop, and it's the most important thing to me. I've actually been told that this is one of the most important things people take away is dead leads are not dead leads. People define dead leads extremely wrong. And some people dead a lead after like you can't make contact a few times, or an example of like a retail lead or whatever it might be. Guys, we should never be deading those opportunities. You guys spend $200 plus on these leads, right? And the reality is you shouldn't be deading them. You should be finding a way to monetize your opportunities. So the only reason ever that you guys should be deading a lead is if they are the wrong homeowner. It's already listed on the MLS. It could be a little test entry, which were some of mine because we were testing the Zapier integration. The seller owes way too much, meaning that they owe way more, which is one of my cancellations. The AG liens and all the other liens outweighed it by $70,000 around everything. There's no clear motivation, meaning that it is going towards pleasure, right? And this is a beautiful, pristine house, meaning that they just got bought maybe a brand new build in 2024. That was one of our leads that did come in, right? So no true definition of motivation there. If you couldn't find a buyer, that means that it was an underwriting gap that I had, or it's a bad fit for your buy box ultimately, right? So it's an area of like where you're at. Maybe you shouldn't have taken it down. Maybe it came in from a random tertiary area that's way far out there. That can also happen, right? Which is why I'm a big believer of going deep into a market versus going super wide. So dead does not mean dead, right? In every capacity, you have to make sure that you are clearly defining what is actually a dead lead. So yeah, I mean, we've all been there. We've all felt that we spend money on this, but guys, that's not the reality. That's not the grounding of what you guys really need in this. You guys got to refine your processes to make it make sense in your business, right? Guys, just don't say the leads suck. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't say the leads suck. The leads don't suck. Our processes to execute to get to the end result suck, right? That's really what it's going to boil down to. So reframe your guys' mindsets. So do me a favor. If you guys ever say the leads suck, remove that from your vocabulary. Say my processes suck. And then go audit your processes through the tracking, identifying, and fixing behaviors that you need to go do around what am I tracking, what am I seeing, and then what do I need to fix ultimately. That is what you guys need to go do, okay? Here's where I get a gloat for a minute about Leadzolo, because these guys did it right for me. I was really happy with my results in this, right? Couple things of what I did see is the geography was really clean, meaning that like the leads that were coming in were actually in the right areas. There has been situations in the past of like where I've used PPC, I've done Facebook, and like I'll get like a lead. I'm in Dayton, Ohio, and I'll get a random lead from like Cleveland, Ohio, right? And it's hard because I don't know that scape of land. Like I know the area, I can move it if it's a high intent lead, but how do I know who's buying this, right? I'm a big believer of understanding the 6 types of buyers that buy these deals. I don't know who those are. So the one thing I can say with Leadzolo was like the geography was perfect. It was great every single time, right? The leads were always within the target buy box, so like I always knew exactly what I was getting. I had a very clear thing. The seller intent was real, meaning I did get really good opportunity from the people that needed to sell, right? Like I wasn't getting a lot of tire kickers. I was getting people whenever I actually engaged with them and I got them on the phone, they had real intent to sell, right? The 2 contracts were locked up the same exact day. I'm going to tell you guys what I did in order to increase the efficiency in this. Because after a month, right? After 1 month, we actually had no contracts, right? So after 30 days of doing this, we had no contracts. So I actually went back to the drawing board and I started to audit what my problems and issues were. And the reality of what I noticed was that my team was so deep in all the other lead channels of what we're running because we are big believers of diversification in our marketing channels. And adding this in, we know that this is the highest intent, right? Because we have to have speed to lead, right? I told you guys at the very beginning, 5 minutes is kind of the basic rule of thumb. And going through and doing this, the number one thing that I noticed, I was like, man, like we're taking like 10, 15, 20 minutes to get to these people. And we're running the process. We're triple dialing them. We're adding the drips. They automatically get a text message and an email. They get all these things, right? It's a very clean, crafty message that we're sending them. The email looks really good, really professional. It's like branding in our company, credibility, all these things, right? So like I know it wasn't that, right? So there was a couple things of what we incorporated that like literally if you put it on paper at 6x our ROI on the second month of doing this, right? But I would have been able to understand that if I wasn't tracking the right metrics. So one of the biggest things of like what we got right in doing this was increasing our speed to lead. So I don't know what CRM you guys are using, but I use Resimpli as my CRM. And one thing of what we incorporated is we turned on the speed to lead AI function, where meaning that the moment that any lead came in from Leadzolo, it zapped immediately into my system. They got a text, they got an email, and the AI agent immediately called to qualify the lead, and it worked like wildfire, right? I actually had never seen, I'd never been a big believer of like the AI. I was like, I don't know about the AI callers, right? But with these, once again, high intent leads, like the execution just started to go up, 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 up. And I saw all these appointments going straight to my closer. So whenever I say speed to lead, guys, like, I mean, speed to lead. So like it worked really well. Yeah. And Cody said the Resimpli, their AI agents sound awesome. So like it did a really good job for us of setting the tone and really helping us out a lot. So guys, if you guys are running PPO, like one thing I will make sure that I drive home as hard as I possibly can is that speed to lead, I think, was the biggest dynamic change from a systematic approach that we fixed and adjusted that I saw a massive uptick in our contract volume. So then you guys got to think like same day locked up, it tells you something, right? Two of the four contracts that we locked up the same day that the leads came in. That's not normal. Usually these things happen for like multiple call attempts, multiple everything. This tells us that once again, super high intent leads. So like the provider is doing the right things. They are doing the right behaviors. And that's not just one fluke thing. Two of the four, 50% came in same day, they had it. 50% of these leads that I have had in that's in a contract right now, super high intent leads. So like the leads are working, guys. It's just about our systems typically that prohibit us from getting to the end result. This is what are we in? We're in 2026. I'm sure I might watch this recording in 2027 or 28 and be like, what an idiot I sounded like. But I am not a firm believer that AI can take over everything. I think it is a tool and a bridge tool in order to help us substantially, meaning that it can do the things that we are really bad at. Meaning that if speed to lead is a problem because I'm in a dialer and it's going to take me and maybe I have to go to the bathroom or grab a drink of water or grab a snack or something in order to hit these leads because I'm a human, right? I want AI to supplement all the things that I am bad at, right? So it can help with the speed in the process, but I'm still an advocate for like my trained team that I personally train on my process every single day is the key to locking up the contracts, right? Now, the speed to getting them on the phone, that can be helped through a systematic approach. But the mastery in the sales process, like the human effect still matters substantially, right? So don't get all gung ho about, man, I got to throw all this through AI. I want an AI agent to call it, set it, offer it, do all these things. We're not there yet. We might be close, but we're not there entirely yet. Okay. Guys, I told you that I would keep you grounded, right? And I would keep you grounded to what really makes sense here, right? Is the readiness test, right? Like I told you guys, I'm a big advocate now for Leadzolo. Like I have had really good results now up to this point with it. I've had sporadic results in the past, right? With other PPL providers. And we've tested a couple, and like the readiness test that you got to ask yourself before you get to the point of like pulling the trigger, spending money on marketing, you got to ask yourself, are you equipped for all of these things, right? How fast can you execute in calling it, right? Can you follow up daily? Can you track every single lead, right? Can you make offers quickly? Meaning, do you have a solidified dispositions process, or is it going to take you a day to get back to a realtor to comp something in an area that you're unaware of? Do we know our numbers to the T? And do you have actually somebody that's following a good process, right? If you guys don't have that, if you guys don't have a trained person in an acquisitions position that can execute in a really good way, you have a problem, right? Like you have to fix that before you feel confident in going and spending money on marketing, right? This is what you guys have to have set up whenever you guys know that PPL is going to be a good fit for you guys, okay? So reasonable expectation, right? This is something I think that you should all anticipate whenever you are measuring your results with PPL is what is the reality of what I should be expecting from lead to contract rate? You should be expecting 5 to 8%. Your cost per contract should be really anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000, depending on what the cost per lead looks like. And then from speed to your actual first close should be about 60 to 90 days, depending on what your exit strategy is, right? Now, I told you guys, whenever you pick a good provider, like the guys at Leadzolo, high intent leads, I was able to close extremely fast. So that sped up my cash conversion cycle, but I didn't forecast that, right? Like I didn't expect that to actually happen. So don't expect these things to happen just because of that. If it happens, awesome. If it doesn't, expect 60 to 90 days to get your money back. That's the cash conversion cycle with everything. Okay. Guys, really, here's my big takeaway, right? Is PPO can work if your process is ready to catch these opportunities. So if you don't have a good sales process, you have to work on the efficiencies there. If you don't have a good system with clear definitions in your system, you should work on that before you deploy your money. If you're going to throw $800 at PPL, you should reconsider what your expectations are. And you should really project that if that's going to be what it is, if I have $800 budget and an average $200 cost per lead, it's going to take me 4 months in order to get a contract, right? So like you guys have to have level set expectations once again from a grounding perspective, and then you drive operational efficiency through everything, right? Guys, I really do appreciate you guys hopping in today. I wanted to give once again big shout out to the Leadzolo team. They absolutely rocked out of the park for this test of what we ran, and they really put their money where their mouth was around the results of what we got. So I can't really say thank you to them enough for helping test this type of thing out. And then once again, show exactly what the process was. It shows you that whenever you have good high intent leads with really good damn processes, it's a natural incubator for profit at the back end of everything, right? So hopefully you guys learned something from today, right? Is that if you guys learn something from today is like the processes, the intent around all of those things, like that is what's going to drive you guys efficiency in your business, right? So if you guys ever have any questions about how to instill these things, how to operate these things, how to plug these into your business, reach out to us. You guys know that we have a ton of trainings where we can help you guys out with those. So if you guys ever have any questions, reach out to me, reach out to our team, hit us up in school, whatever it might be. But yeah, if you guys got anything, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for an hour on a busy Thursday. So hopefully you guys got some good nuggets from today. Take it easy, and I will see you guys on the next training.